Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever part of the day this video chooses to reach you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing fine. I hope you realize that you're blessed. I hope you realize that you are blessed. This is the day that you got somebody else. So be happy that you got to see it. It's your boy, Von P, the political crash outs. Ah, so we can talk some politics today. You don't want to keep up too much of y'all time. Today, we're going to crash out a little bit by talking about the Florida budget. Now, the Florida budget has been something that we needed to get done and finalized for over 100 days now. We definitely gonna crash out today. We don't crash out too much because actually we got to give credit to where credit is due because the Florida budget's finally got approved. Ugh. I feel like look. Oh, let's get right here. Let's get right here, man. Ugh. Like I said, the Florida budget just got approved. It was something that had to. It wasn't a one-sided affair. We had to have multiple individuals across both aisles come together on different measures in this bill that Governor Ron Desantis finally signed off on. So, in order for him to even be able to come through there and sign off on the bill, we had to have some bipartisan work done by both sides. So, I really wanted to give a lot of credit to the Florida legislators because these individuals, some of them we ain't gonna see them next year because their affiliations and some of the things that they've been on, but they've been able to come together for this particular bill and do some good things for the people. They've also done some kind of shady shit as well, but yeah, it's you gotta take the good with the bad sometimes, and sometimes the bad will outweigh the good. Sometimes the good will outweigh the bad, but all in all, we did see a lot of good in this bill. I want to talk about some things in the bill, show you guys some of what's actually in the bill, show you guys how to, look up some of this stuff again, because that's something that I really want to plant those seeds of how to actually look this shit up, because a lot of people are just on the internet trying to tell y'all what's going on and give you this perspective that there's just some fucking savant or there's some fucking expert. As you can see by my background, I'm an everyday man. I go to work every day. I just happen to have a background in politics and I understand this shit. And I want to show you how I've come to show you some of the ways I've come to understand this shit. And it's something as simple as a Google search sometimes that will help y'all. A lot of people are gonna tell you what they feel, what I think, what I think, what I think. I'm gonna tell you what the fuck I know. I am telling you what the fuck I know because this shit I've looked up. This some shit I gone to the source and looked up. That come from my time at the greatest HBCU that has ever been created, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. My educators there, they showed us how people try to say that colleges indoctrinate you, especially right now with all this bullshit that's going on with Ron DeSantis. But college teaches you how to think in a different way, because up until you got to the point that you're in college, you've actually been indoctrinated and taught certain things. When you get to college, your mind is set free if you got the right professors, if you got the right environment. If you're taught properly, you're not taught how to think in a specific silo. You're taught how to expand your thought and how to actually go to the source and get the information that you really truly want, not to stay on the surface where they told me or I heard some bullshit. You're taught how to go get the information that you're truly after. And that doesn't matter what discipline that you're in. When you're in college, those educators, they tell you the tricks of the trade. And they also tell you how to go get the information that you really want. They're preparing you for life beyond that classroom. So everybody that thinks there's a lot of indoctrination going on in colleges, no, they're not. There's a lot of opportunities for individuals to set their mind free and learn a lot of new shit. And it's not the new shit that you're being taught. You're learning a lot of new shit because you're taught how to go get that information. You're taught how to go weed out the bullshit from the good shit. That's why you learn a lot of shit in college, not because they're sitting there indoctrinating you and learning you, teach you a bunch of bullshit. They're teaching you how to use your brain and how to use the resources around you to go get that information that you're really after. Do I react to political music on stream? Anarchist NPT. No, I don't. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Political music is a realm that I am not well versed in. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm one of the people that's not gonna sit here and try and talk about some bullshit. I'm not to say political music is bullshit, but I'm not gonna spit some built bullshit just to be heard. I'm not one on the political music scene. Um, to my knowledge, the only time I really seen some political music has been, surrounding times of some bullshit happening. Now, not to say that there isn't bullshit happening there out now, and there's not political music out there going on, but I just not aware of it. Maybe, yeah. Where's my phone at? Man, that's my checklist of shit to start looking up there. Political music. Political music. I put it on my my list of shit to talk about this week. So throw it back in maybe tomorrow, next day, now be covered. You know what I'm saying? I agree with what Purple Glass Media. Um, in America, we don't really have too much revolutionary music in this day and age. Um, like I said, right now we're used to seeing and hearing the political revolutionary music when after some shit is happening. They'll drop George, like after George Floyd stuff happened, they dropped his name song. They have Beyonce, getting involved with the election last year. Jeezy, when Barack Obama was running for president, he made president is black, my Lambo is blue. But we generally see that when something's happening. Back in the day with Kumo D and Public Enemy and all them cats out there was when conscious and thoughtful and mindful rap was a thing. Yeah, we seen revolutionary political music, but nowadays, nah, it's not as popular. I agree. Immortal Technique, Lupe Fiasco, Most Def, aka Yasin Bey, Black Thought, Talib Kweli. Those are the cats that we would normally be hearing some revolutionary political music from around, whatever's going on. But I'm diving into some shit that I really don't really know a lot into. But it honestly feels as if the powers that be, just kind of quiet those guys because Lupe Fiasco had a nice upward trajectory going on, and his music shit just kind of hit a wall. It kind of plateaued because when he got a lot of more popularity than his early days, it, it put the record labels and the powers that be on notice that hey, this ain't just the average nigga, right? This nigga gonna be talking that shit, and some of the shit he gonna say we don't want him to say. And Lupe was like, "Fuck y'all, I'm gonna still talk this shit." We seen it happen with the Most Def. His career kind of plateaued at a certain when it became ever apparent he was not going to change his tone. Talib Kweli and those cats, the roots. Once it becomes apparent to the power that these artists are not going to change their tone, or they don't have a price tag associated with them pivoting, they find a way to kind of plateau that shit. You've reached your level, you reached your status, and we're not going to try and take you down for your status, but we're just going to make it kind of plateau. You know, it's on you from there on point. It's on you. So that's one of the reasons why I think we don't see a lot of political music, popularized in the United States of America. Not to say that it's not out there. I know it's some motherfuckers out there making some damn songs out here. Hell, even to prove my point, look at YG. YG made that song "Fuck Donald Trump." He was on the upper trajectory when "Fuck Donald Trump" came out. "Fuck Donald Trump" came out. YG shit plateaued. I'm laughing but that's what happens. we've seen it happen time and time again. There's plenty of examples of when the powers that be in those record industries, they realize that these artists are not going to change their tone and they're going to be the revolutionary ones. They shit just kind of plateaus. The ones that's going to keep pushing the mindless bullshit, they shit skyrockets. it's 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 too many examples to show. Too many fucking examples to show. But if this was the late 80s, early 90s, we would have a lot more revolutionary and political music out there to bump to. Back then, before rap was mainstream and streams became the thing to aspire for, we had artists that just didn't give a fuck and they was gonna get out there and tell you what the fuck they felt like. Now, those artists are old as shit. The new generation, like what boy name? J. Cole, he his shit is plateauing. Um, I think Kendrick, he's probably at a point to where they don't know what to do with Kendrick. They don't know what to do with him. Because at one point when you could point to his career kind of plateauing, because it's ever apparent that he's not going to leave his people in his community. He's going to try and uplift the community whichever way he can do it. When it became apparent to them, it's like it started to plateau, and then that fucking beef started. Oh shit, shit. That motherfucker said, you can't make my shit plateau because I'm that nigga. I'm gonna take your token boy in Drake. I'm gonna put him across my motherfucking lap, and I'm gonna stang his ass. I'm gonna beat his motherfucking ass. And Drake has a fucking problem. Drake's had a problem over the last 2 years. That was it. Party Next Door album and Drake shit. It did initial numbers, and that shit kind of it did a number. It did the initial numbers because people wanted to see what the fuck was going on with it. What's Drake gonna bounce back? What's Drake gonna bounce back? Now, if you count being number one for like a week or two, cool. He did that. He did it. But that shit is not on the radio. That shit is not being played. It's not being played in the clubs. It may be in rotation on your homeboy's playlist, but that shit is not on major rotation. Is in major rotation? Kendrick, They Not Like Us. 2-year-old song, still in rotation, strong as fuck. Turn on any radio station that you could think of, and that plays hip hop, and that motherfucker gonna be played at least 5 times a day. That shit is still in heavy rotation in every radio station in the United States of America. Not only that, Kendrick went and did an album with SZA. America's Sad Ho did an album with the dopest rapper out here. Man, 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 man. Kendrick did the cheat code and he proved that you can't plateau my shit. But he did take out Drake in the fucking process, which was fucking interesting and funny, to be honest with you. Drake, I I really don't give a fuck about Drake shit. Being completely but fucking transparent here. He not like us. I don't give a fuck about it. The nigga fuck around and makes music for let me stop for the light skinned delegation be mad at me and try to get me canceled. Soft ass niggas. But I was talking about the Florida budget before we started rambling about political music and the politicalization, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say, of the music industry and how you motherfuckers just make people shit plateau when they on some revolutionary uplifting community type shit. Before I gotta start talking about all that, I want to talk about the Florida budget. Florida budget, it had a lot of bipartisan support in it. So that's why I say I have to give credit to Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whoever the fuck voted for these things to put. Excuse me, whoever put these packages together. So there was a lot of wins, but there was a lot of also vetoes. Governor Ron Desantis came through with his line out of veto power, and he cut out a lot of fucking money to this budget. A lot of these programs are programs that could benefit the community and in a lot of fucking different ways. But also in that he did give some money out. We've seen $1.36 billion that are going towards teachers and staff pay. Now, in the state where we got some of the lowest paid teachers in America, I think this is something that was well overdue and will be much appreciated by the educators in the state of Florida. Will it go as far as needed to keep the current teachers and attract new teachers? I don't fucking know. I really don't fucking know. When you have a housing crisis in the state of Florida to the point where school boards, local school boards, are having a conversation about turning old and shut down schools into teacher housing, we have a really fucking problem. We have a really big fucking problem. When they're talking about changing old and shut down schools into teacher housing and trying to use that as a perk to attract and retain teachers that can't afford to live in the area that they're fucking teaching in, we have an astronomical problem. So to see that the state of Florida put some money forward for teacher raises, I'm happy. But some research has to be done and looked into to make sure that all of the money that is supposed to go here, one, is equally divided up amongst charter and private schools and public education, because we've seen a lot of money that has been earmarked and used or traditionally used for public education be funneled to the charter and private school networks over the last couple of years in the state of Florida, and the shit is just fucking disgusting. I can't say none of that. I can't say it enough, because every year in the state of Florida we have an astronomical amount of charter schools that open and close in the state, and they just take a lot of fucking money with them. Like at this point, it's really a fucking hustle to run charter schools. You can open a charter school in an old shut down Winn-Dixie. You don't even need to start that fucking big. You can try a fucking one room charter school and get state funding. Like the shit is a lick. The shit is a clean fucking lick. But you should have enough. You gotta have enough money to get into it. It's one of those licks that you can't, that everybody can't get in. You guys just, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be able to get into it. Get out of here, bitch. You fucking trying to drop bullshit comments in my chat. Nigga, fucking don't pay that shit. You wanna crash out, crash out. We don't be trying to spam motherfuckers in my shit. We ain't on that. We are not on that. And I will block you if you think you're gonna drop some motherfucking spam in my motherfucking chat. Don't you dare try and do that shit to my fucking chat box. My chat not box. My chat room, whatever the fuck you call that shit. You gotta protect my people, man. You can't have these weirdos out here just doing weird shit. If you don't want to be viewed as being weird, don't do weird shit. But aside from the $1.36 billion that goes towards teaching and school staff raises, we're seeing a 2% pay bump for state employees in the state of Florida. Now that's something that state of Florida employees have not seen in a very long fucking time. And a lot of state employees will appreciate that. But once again, we living in a state where we have this astronomical housing prices, astronomical rent, leasing prices, when gas prices up there, food prices have increased. You know, it's appreciated, but it's one of the things that you have vision and you understand what's been going on out here. You appreciate this stuff, but you also can't help but notice that you don't want to say it's too little too late, but god damn, the fuck was y'all waiting on? The fuck was y'all waiting on to pay people like central people of the state of Florida, the teachers in the state employees, the motherfuckers that educate the workforce, and the motherfuckers that facilitate the workforce going forward in the state of Florida have been some of the lowest paid individuals in the state of Florida for a long time. So we in the state of Florida have been lucky to retain the motherfuckers that we lucky that our best teachers and best state employees haven't just hauled ass because they haven't been getting paid. Just being honest, we've been fucking lucky in the state of Florida to retain people that we've been able to retain. But we have also seen a 15% increase in salaries for, excuse me, up to 15% for law enforcement. I hope we can get some motherfucking law enforcement with some damn sense for the extra fucking 15%. For a 15% raise, you motherfuckers better not have no more fucking problems out here. 15% raise, you motherfuckers better be on the up and up. That's all I got to say about that shit. Gotta make sure look in the chats over here. Gotta make sure the chats on the point. Now, Governor Ron Desantis did tout a lot of tax cuts in this bill. Um, the tax cuts are kind of wild because Governor Ron DeSantis has talked about wanting to do a number of things when it comes to tax cuts, including cut property taxes out in the state of Florida. For those that don't know, property taxes basically fund your way of fucking life in the state of Florida. We don't have a state income tax to help supplant things or make up the loss that losing property tax will have. So the the bill for a lot of the services that you enjoy in your community for free because you pay property taxes. So I would say free. You already buy into these services, but you don't really understand or think about the cost or impact of them because you don't pay for them on a subscription or fee or per service base. You pay your property taxes and you're lumped into being able to have fire services, police services, your roadways kept up and paved. You know how much it would cost to have the road in front of your house paved? Like, if you had to pay for that, call a country boy up and see how much he had to pay to get that gravel road that he got down his road did. Because when you stay in unincorporated areas or very rural communities, you end up having to pay for shit like that. And when you get that bill for trash removal, or when you want to get a new road, I say, well, you know what, you got to pay for that, Billy Bob. Billy Bob had to go and divvy up between the community and get that gravel road put out there, and it's not cheap. So imagine if you had to pay for that asphalt road to be paved, and then get it repaired, and then pay a motherfucking lawn service every however often to come out there and mow the lawn in between it. You'd be pissed off. So you think paying property taxes is one thing, but what we got to be honest with is that a lot of these tax cuts that we see, they also have a indirect impact that you must be aware of. So just wanted to talk about that before we talk about tax cuts, because we have seen tax relief in the state of Florida for businesses, and businesses, while they are part of the community, giving $2 billion. I ain't gonna say 2 billion. Giving a whole lot of money in tax relief to businesses via the cutting out of the business tax rent. That's one of those things that said, hey, if we help businesses out, they're gonna pay their employees more, and that's gonna help the economy. It's gonna help the common folk. But whenever we hear that said as a rationale, we never see it play out. We never see it play out when big automobile when automobile industry got bailed out. They didn't come out there and drop prices on fucking cars. Car- Trucks cost 100K right now, man. Are you crazy? Are you fucking sick? Like give me a fucking break. How often are we gonna hear this tax cuts for the rich and wealthy and businesses is gonna lead to better, financial situations for the people that they're employed that they employ? We never see that shit happen ever. We've not seen it happen, not one fucking time. We did get a new month-long sales tax holiday in the state of Florida when it comes to school supplies, but one of the tax cut things that Ron DeSantis wanted in there that got me chuckling us a little bit is there's a Second Amendment summer tax-free holiday. Where you get tax-free status on things like these and these. You not just start grabbing shit. But it's a Second Amendment summer tax-free program where you get discounts on these via tax breaks, meaning the sales tax on these types of items here and camping equipment and these items here, plus other varieties of these items. You get, well, maybe not this one. I don't know if they give you a tax break on this. They might make you pay sales tax on this one. But this right here, you get a sales tax break on this one. You get a sales tax break on this one. This one, maybe not. They might say this is excessive and doesn't fall under the category for what we was thinking. We talked about sales tax holiday, but I'm gonna try them out. I'm gonna try them to see. Just wait till the Freedom Summer rings. I'm gonna see if they give me a tax break on these right here. I know they give me these on these, but this one they might say is a little excessive. I don't know. I don't fucking know. They're gonna tell me that these weren't intended to be included in the sales tax holiday. Maybe it was a regular one, yeah, but not these ones. This I know they'll give me a sales tax. This you can buy this shit in Walmart. Can you buy it in Walmart? I think you still buy shotgun on Walmart. Yeah, you can get these in Walmart. I wasn't supposed to say shotgun on stream, huh? It'd be weird. I could show shit like this and not get. I bet if I look at my Facebook shit right now, it say I have a community guidelines fucking warning. Facebook be on my ass, y'all. Facebook be on my ass. They be on my ass. Now, one thing about the sales tax and community tax breaks, that did lead to some encouraging news that Florida's rainy day fund is to have a projected total of about $4.9 billion, and that's going to be for ag. We'll have a total of 15.7 billion. I believe that's the total that we're projected to have in our rainy day fund. Just emergency fund, just in case shit happens in the state of Florida. And when you're talking about what's that shit called? FEMA being taken off there and Trump not really giving a fuck about, states going through natural disasters and shit like that. Having enough money to be able to help your state out is going to be very, very, very fucking important. We won't get into how much FEMA sends to states when they have natural disasters and if 15.7 billion in reserves is going to be enough to sustain us when they FEMA spending damn near they not let me stop. It's good that we got money in our reserve fund because we're on the edge of hurricane season and shit can get real out here. I don't know about y'all, but every fucking summer since I've been a teenager, shit has gotten fucking worse. It's gotten hotter. Like we get more fucking hurricanes. Like last year, we had a hurricane come through Florida that created tornadoes. Like you had a hurricane fucking come through the state of Florida, do a little zigzag, and in the process, the winds was going so fast that it started throwing out little tornadoes across the state in this path. Like that shit ain't never fucking happened in my lifetime. That was the first time. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Sound like some sci-fi shit. Like, that sound like a sci-fi movie, that you see on like a Saturday afternoon, not even a Saturday evening, not even prime time. Like it's a Saturday at 1 o'clock type show. That's the first one they throw on the bullshit one. Like that's how crazy that shit sounds. But it was real. We had a hurricane that came through the state of Florida and threw out little tornadoes all over the fucking place. And shit don't look like it's gonna get fucking easier out here in the state of Florida when it comes to hurricane season. So to have that type of money in the reserves, at least in the immediate time, is a fucking win. It is a fucking win. Let's see what else we want to talk about here. Mm. Now, the budget doesn't have it has a lot of highlights in it, but it does have its points of contention or controversy. There's $15 million in the Florida state budget that's going towards a computer software that enables parents to be able to see what books are in their kids' library and be able to use that program to say, "Hey, my kid can't check this book out. I don't want my kid to have access to this particular book." Now, on the surface, that sounds like a pretty wasteful fucking program, but it made it through. Some people may say, I don't think it has any fucking use because it's bullshit. But that $15 million is going towards a company that is owned by an individual that is close to the government. It is on record that the owner of this company is a big political contributor to Governor Ron DeSantis. It's on record, like it's just out there. Quid pro quo, maybe so. I like that. 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 We seen a lot of money going to the K through 12 system, um, to the tune of $15.9 billion. Early childhood made out like a band of 1.6 billion. But, but, I don't know how I feel about $5 billion being funneled to private charter schools. $5 billion of Florida taxpayer money is being funneled to public, private charter schools. In most cases, the money that is being funneled there is to be used because there's been an increase in voucher requests for students that attend religious charter schools and these different various charter schools that are already going on out here. So at a point, it's a question of whether school choice is about providing a better option to members in the community that may not be able to afford the charter school or private school option to be able to give their kid access to a quality or better education, or is this about just subsidizing people's choices that they're already making? Send their kids to charter schools and private schools, and for the people that already paid can afford to send their kids to charter and public schools, charter and private schools. So yes, is this really about trying to give people an option to uplift their kids' educational, access, or is this about saying that Karen and Tommy, decided to send their kid to charter school and they got tired of paying for it and they see this voucher program and they got pissed off that people in rural and poor communities are using this program and that they made too much money already to qualify this program. So they started to complain about about not having access to this program and complaining about it and saying it's not fair, it's not fair. And because they had political connections and their connections, made a lot of noise, so that the guardrails were taken off this program. So now everybody has access to this program equitably or equally, equally, because equitably is not the same as equally. Um, equitably was what we had. Suppose it equally is what we have now. Equal access does not always mean equal results. If you were already paying for your kid to go to charter school, you made a choice a long time ago. And this program was never intended, just say it like that. This program was intended for individuals that that lived in rural and poor communities that sometimes didn't have access to quality education options for their kids. So the charter schools or private schools were the better option, and they couldn't always afford it. So the state had a program to where they helped them out with this voucher program where they paid for that stuff, tuition. We have a lot of people that just took advantage of the program, and now it's overrun and it's becoming run like a whole ass hustle. These motherfuckers open charter schools in the state of Florida like to just make some money real quick, get that motherfucker shut down, and they're gonna open up a whole nother one and get a whole nother pot of money. And it's a smooth ass hustle in South Florida right now at this point to run a charter school. I don't know what the fuck Umar got going on, but Umar could have been making some fucking money with that school. And people give me so much hell about Umar and that goddamn school, but Umar still ain't open this fucking school. And charter schools are a fucking hustle right now. And this motherfucker still ain't got that goddamn school open. Tell me shit about Umar and this motherfucking school, man. Umar was never serious about that goddamn school. We got charter schools being fucking just open and closed, right? Get all type of money. Motherfucker talk about some goddamn man. Fuck Umar. All right. So one of the other lowlights of this budget bill that I wanted to talk about was funding that is going to be used to these motherfuckers ain't even trying to hide being racist and bigoted no more, y'all. And they're using taxpayer money to give bonuses to instructors of colleges, like at Hillsdale College. I think it's Hillsdale. What are my notes? Yeah, Hillsdale College in Florida to teach classical charter schools. Excuse me, to teach classical, lessons, educational lessons. Well, not educational lessons, but teach classical ideologies. That's what they're calling it. And they're also putting aside money for charter schools that are opening up that supposedly teach classical, that are supposed to be classical charter schools. Now, we think classical and education, of course, classical education comes to mind, but classical education is liberal as fuck. Liberal as fuck. And we're not talking about the Democratic Party, which is the party that is supposed to be liberal. We're talking about the Republican Party, which is conservative in nature. So there is no classical conservative education. There's just classical education ideologies, which is liberal as fuck. But when you talk about politics, which is what we are talking about, and what Ron DeSantis and his people that put this bill together are talking about, is classical conservative ideologies. And when we talk about classical, matter of fact, fucking swerving off the bill here right now. So let's go ahead and swerve a little bit. I have a screen all ready to jump up into some damn bills and shit. It was gonna go into the governor sign off, go to the highlights. This was what I meant to have up. But as you can see, I done been reading through all this shit and I've been hitting these points just talking about it. Um, if you really want to know the whole bill, you can go to the governor's website here and Google it. Google's gonna be your best friend. But we're gonna go to Google right now because I want to just talk. Because I'm on it. I want to talk about it. I want to just dive down this rabbit hole with y'all right now. Classical ideologies. You have different types of classical ideologies. I don't want to. It's not modern liberalism, but when you talk about classical education, classical liberalism is going to always come up. When we put in classical political ideology, you see a little bit different search that pops up. It goes into the breakdown of the different classical political ideologies that we have out here. Classical liberalism is what you normally would see associated with the Democratic Party. Uh, it's free markets. They try and say that Democrats are for big government, but if you look at it, Democrats create the environment for businesses to thrive and do fucking awesome things in. You know, businesses do great when Democratic leadership is in office. It's just historically proven. We got Republicans in office, the economy fucking shrinks, businesses start scratching their head on what the fuck is going on. Then all the Republicans to keep their stuff in office, they start, oh well, it was the last guy that fucked stuff. Yeah. But never realizing that these are the motherfuckers that are fucking shit up. The Democrats are the ones that actually they create an environment for businesses to thrive and do good. Um, classic liberalism protects individual freedoms, property rights, going to free trade, economic competition, limited government intervention in the economy and individuals' lives. When we talk about classical republicanism or conservatism, you see a lot of shit that resembles the Jim Crow era and the slavery era, where you had individuals that believe in tradition, social order. And that's not to say he believed in equality. They believed that your different classes were defined sometime before you even achieved that class. There was no working your way up by the bootstraps if you were certain individuals. If you were a part of a certain social order, a certain class, you was fucked. They didn't give a fuck who you are, what you had. You were a part of that social class, so you were lesser or higher of a man. You were lesser or higher of a person because you were black or white. You're a lesser or higher of a person because you own slaves, or you didn't own slaves. Because that's the other nasty part they didn't talk about slavery. Those white folks used to talk shit about the white folks that couldn't afford to have slaves. Having slaves was not a cheap thing to do. And the slave owners used to flex on the motherfuckers that didn't have slaves. And that created a whole other little rift and beef between the motherfuckers that had slaves and didn't have slaves. So when we talk about these different classical ideologies, we got to keep in mind that we're not talking about individuals that are just saying, "Hey, I want to teach kids the old school way that we were growing up, a couple years ago." Not in the 80s, they talk about old school classical shit. Back when slave masters still had the plantation full of niggas. That's the classical shit that they want to talk about, and that's what we've gotten as a country in America, to where they don't even outright, call it what it is. They talk about it in pretty little terms and pretty little ways. So you motherfuckers got to stay awoke to what's going on. You know, the budget isn't just about numbers; it's about priorities and policy. Like this shit is this shit is deeper than rap. Excuse me. These priorities that these motherfuckers put, they loud as shit. They're not even trying to hide, the shit anymore. They feel like they realize they can be overt with it and just be as loud as the fuck they want, as long as they're overt with it. These ideologies are not fucking apologetic in the least bit. They don't give a fuck, that you have figured out what the plan is, because they understand not enough motherfuckers give a fuck about what the plan is to stop it. Because as long as they keep motherfuckers in off voted into office that are gonna carry out these tasks, they know they got it. And they know America's gotten to a place to where we are emotionally fucking driven like it's nobody's fucking business. As long as they keep tap dancing on people's emotions, they gonna keep their ass scared and fucking riled up and feeling like their way is the best way, even though their way has not fucking worked out. Like it's scary. It's fucking scary, man. It's scary. It's fucking scary. It's scary. Yeah. But this ain't no shit that we ain't heard before. The same type of shit that we've seen in this budget, we've seen and heard it before. Before I jump off the budget, I wanted to talk about some of the things that were cut out of the budget. Uh, 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 do, do, do. Yep, that ain't it. There we go. Now, the budget, we talked about all the shit that's in the budget, but we didn't talk about the shit that got cut out of the budget. So I would want to do a quick little stroll down here and show you some of the things that got cut out of the budget. But some of this shit is, just shit that can really wait. Florida State University wanted to remodel their gym. The University of West Florida wanted to do educational research for child development. You know, I'm not gonna say these measures that we've seen here aren't really needed. Some of this shit can wait, but some of this shit was political ideology playing out all in front of our faces. Let's see, in chat, if you see anything that is happening in your city, please feel free to tell me. We can do some deep diving in it real quick. Of course, I live in Broward County, so I always look for things that have to do with my area. Uh, Miami Gardens Higher Education Initiative, they lost $37,500. You know, and in these budget cuts, I'm not going to highlight it, but in Dade County, they have a program of community members that go around and they stop the violence. They basically stop the violence and they police the community. And they were funded by the state of Florida. And the money's not there anymore. So understand that in these budget cuts, a lot of people try and characterize a lot of this stuff as waste and harmful, wasteful spending by the state of Florida. But a lot of these programs that you see on this list here have direct impact in your community, in your neighborhood, in your state, in your surrounding area. And these are people's lives here that sometimes are impacted by this. Uh, in Dade County, we had at the Dade County Public Schools and FIU Cuban American Studies Research Institute has lost $200,000 in funding. I wonder why they lost that funding. It's pretty obvious why some of these vetoes are there because some of these vetoes are aligning with DEI, and we're not about DEI in state of Florida. But some of these programs, like after school literacy programs and activities, come on, they lost $500,000. These are after school programs that these kids and communities can use. Excuse me. The Baby Right Community Underserved Leadership STEAM program, excuse me, 150K. You know, this is Miami Gardens right here. This is the community right here in Dade County, right by the stadium. You know, so these kids are in the shadow of the stadium. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And it's not, horrible. Don't get me talking bad about the community, but oh man, a lot of this stuff can be used. Money can be go a long way to help the community. Educational program, enhancing literacy programs, um, healthy choices, Florida Healthy Choices Sexual Risk Avoidance Program, $475,000, $475,000. Program meant to help motherfuckers have sex safe in an era where we got more motherfuckers catch shit left and right. The governor thought it was a good idea to wipe that out the budget. Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Arthur and Paula Mays Conservatory of the Arts, Museum of Discovery and Science, Job Readiness, Public Engagement for Florida's Space Industry, 200K. We have a lot of programs that, if put in place, they would have helped schools. A lot of fucking schools. Brevard County is trying to expand their West Shore Junior Senior High School. $5 million out of it. It made it to the budget. Somebody got this school $5 million in the final budget. And the governor said, fuck that shit. The governor said, fuck that shit. And we've seen so many fucking budget cuts in this final budget that don't make any sense. Look at this. Can't highlight right now. Public radio stations, $1.3 million. Public TV stations, $4.4 million. That's the radio and the public TV. Like, if you don't have cable, that is what you've been watching. But now that shit's gonna go down the drain. That shit finna get worse. Man, look at Tallahassee Community College, Farm B State College losing money. Like, so much money that could have been going for you for education that's just not there anymore. It's stupid if you ask me. Give these schools what they need to educate these fucking kids. We've seen so much fucking money just veto out this bill. The Broward County Baker Act Transportation for Minors. Transporting crazy kids just don't sound like a bad idea. Being able to safely transport some crazy motherfuckers just sounds like the right thing to fucking do. Sound like a thing that the government's supposed to be doing. I'm not just looking for anything in particular. I'm just scrolling through here. I'm showing you guys some of the shit that just gets vetoed out of the final budget so that you guys can see that when they say that government waste, is a problem, this is what they be talking about. These are some of the programs that they talk about. They call waste. Reach out and read a children's literacy program through pediatric primary care, $500,000. But we can give all type of tax breaks. When I talked about the tax cuts earlier, that billions of dollars that were given in tax breaks to businesses to cut the business tax from the state of Florida means that money is going to have to come from somewhere else. Like, I'm just being honest here. That's the way this shit works, y'all. That is the way this shit works. Hey, there's so much, and it comes out of everyone, not just education. I know we spend a little on education, but now we're in the criminal justice world. It's a lot of shit that's gonna get changed right here. Broward County Forensic Center lose $500,000. Get ready to get overburdened. See the Hot Springs Police Station, $250,000. Who the fuck asked for $14 million? Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office Aviation Sector hangar, $14 million. They need a new hangar. Shit, I ain't getting that. New Miami Beach Police Training Facility, 200K. Y'all get training motherfuckers where they at. That's what Ron said. Wilson managed public safety initiatives, 37.5. That was the smallest shit on there. They could have gave him 37.5. But then again, what manages the gay community, so DEI cuts. Speaking of DEI cuts, the Cuban American Bar Association Pro Bono Legal Fund. The fuck y'all need pro bono legal work for? Shit, y'all just gonna try and sue us because we doing all this ICE shit. Give you the money to sue me. Cuban American Bar Association Special Needs Legal Assistance Program. No, sorry, Chico. No. The Lotus Coalition, Safe Housing, like all this shit for illegal immigrants. Get that shit the fuck up out of here. Human trafficking my ass. Where they at? We'll go get them. That's what he said. If you worry about that human traffic here, just let me know. I got some ICE homies that'll go check them out. You know what I'm saying? We'll go find out if they was human trafficking now. We got a nice warm bed for them. That's what DeSantis is saying. Like, they're not giving a fuck about any of that shit. All that DEI shit, cut clean out the budget. Even if you did make it here past, the conservatives in the House and the conservatives in the Senate, Governor Ron Desantis used that veto pen to wipe all that DEI shit out of it. Anything that they consider DEI is gone. Anything that's helping an immigrant or somebody that's been here legally or illegally, that shit is gone right here in this budget here. Just all this shit is cut. From high schools to municipal governments to colleges to it doesn't fucking matter. These are fucking roadway and drainage projects. Cut. But these are all the cuts to the Florida state budget. Won't bore motherfuckers to death too much longer with all this shit because it's getting late. And yeah. So that was a quick little rundown of the highlights and lowlights for the budget. It's some things in the budget that I haven't touched on, but as the new coming days and the new cycle will come on, we'll touch on that stuff. But I wanted to get that little bit of time with y'all today and talk about what's going on in the budget.